Hello, everyone. It is episode 4 in our Harmony and Hooves series. Harmony and Hoofs series. This episode is Love and Connection. Now, this series, we're talking about the 6 basic needs that women and horses, humans and horses, share in common. It's one of the reasons we bond so deeply and we get along so well with horses. So let's just recap for a minute. Our first episode, I got my notes down here, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm doing. Our first episode was about certainty. Certainty provides the stable ground for both women and horses to feel safe and secure and willing to explore out of our comfort zone. It's the routines that we get used to that provide that certainty in our lives. It's the confidence that we have in knowing how to engage and do things with our horses. And then we have variety. First, we have to have that certainty to make us feel safe and secure and grounded and willing to stretch ourselves out of our comfort zone into the area of variety. And the variety is kind of like the spice of life. It's what makes things exciting. It's what keeps our horses looking for our car when it pulls in, or if you live with your horses, they whinny when they see you coming, or even if you're boarding them, they see you and they whinny because they know that they have certainty that they're safe and they're secure and they're cared for when they're with you, and that you guys are going to do some really fun things. So the variety in our lives helps us to grow and to learn new things and to explore new areas. And then after the variety comes significance. And in order for us to have I'm going to stick with the meaningful relationship that we're building with our horses. We both have to feel significant. We both have to know that we matter. We have to be respected and heard and seen. And the way that I think about that with my horses and my relationship is that I'm the leader. And how do I make my horse feel significant? I believe in inclusive leadership. And what I mean by that is that my horse is an intricate part of the whole. And my horses have good information. And so the way that I help them to feel significant is that I give them that voice, I give them that choice. And I find significance in being the best leader that I can be for them. I don't always hit the mark. We don't always hit the mark. We're human. And what makes the relationship amazing is that we are both forgiving of one another and hopefully ourselves. So after significance comes love and connection. And remember, I believe I've said it in every episode, but these are in a specific order that builds on one another. And when all of these needs are being met on a regular basis and balanced, you can't be addressing all the 6 needs at one time, but I come back to the circle. It's a revolving, there's 6 quadrants of the circle, and they are 1 through 6, and we weave in and out of them in a beautiful dance. And when it comes to building a relationship with our horses or with others, but again, we're with our horses, the circle, the globe, the sphere has become even more um, active, you know. Um, I keep just seeing flowing, just flowing in harmony. So we have to have certainty before we're ready to explore variety. And once we have variety, then comes significance. Well, how do I make a difference in this relationship? How do I bring certainty to the table? And get my certainty fulfilled? And how do I bring variety to the table? And how do I make sure that both partners are enjoying the variety that's being brought to the table? And then the significance is knowing that I am an equal part of the whole. Oh, I like that. An equal part of the whole. So then comes love and connection. And once those three needs are being met, we are ready and willing to feel vulnerable. And let's admit it, we play with 1,000-pound prey animals. So there is always a degree of vulnerability that is in play when we're engaging with our horses. And hopefully it's a healthy sense of vulnerability, but sometimes we feel vulnerable. But when I talk about vulnerability in a healthy way, we are willing to stand still and be uncomfortable in the presence of our trusty steeds in a way that we are opening our hearts and allowing love to flow from my heart to my horse's heart, which creates a deep connection. And this is in any meaningful relationship. And in the work that I do with women and their horses, I am becoming more and more aware of how many of us actually have our hearts closed. We're not willing to be vulnerable. We're willing to feel vulnerable physically when they're in their presence and we're asking them to do things. But we're not real willing to open our hearts because we don't want to be hurt emotionally. We horsewomen are actually more willing to put ourselves out there physically and be hurt than we often are emotionally and connect with our horses. We think we are. And I don't even know if I want to say we think we are, because I believe that there's varying degrees of being open and fulfilling that need for love and connection. So let's talk about that need of love and connection. It comes after significance, because significance is that I make a difference. I am important. I have value. But the love is, I need to know that others care about me. And when you have a connection with another being and it's just kind of a mutual friendship, you're not as emotionally invested as you are when you love somebody. The connection gets deeper. And horses need that same love and connection. If you watch horses that have buddies, they spend time fulfilling the need of love and connection by standing side by side. In the summer when it's full of flies, they'll stand, head to tail so that they can swash the flies off of each other's faces and bodies. They'll have mutual grooming. And that's feeling that need for love and connection. And, there's love and then there's connection. When we come together and I'm grooming my horse and I'm riding, I'm connected to my horse physically, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I have my heart open and flowing love. I find often with the women that I work with that so many are completely unaware of what's going on in their body, how they're feeling, where the tension is, how they're breathing. We tune our body out so often. We treat it like it's a machine. And we often, sadly, treat our horses sometimes like they're a machine. Kind of like a bike. Kind of like golf clubs, We need them in order to achieve our desired goal, which is to get on a horse and ride and jump and dressage and cutting and reining and barrel racing and all the stuff that we ask them to do with us. But do we actually provide them with the certainty and the variety and the significance and the love and the connection that they need as a living being to feel peace at what they're doing with us? For many years, I know I didn't. I've always loved my animals and they meant a lot to me, but I did not have my heart open and connecting with them on a deep, vulnerable level. When you're willing to stand still with awareness on your heart as to whether or not you are truly connecting with your horse through love, just for who they are, another living being in the physical form of a horse, which is to me one of the most amazing creations. Are we aware? Are we connected in that way? Are we willing? And I know that if we answer that question honestly, there's a great deal of times that we are not expressing love and connection with our horses because our hearts are closed for a variety of different reasons. So how can we begin to explore this basic need that we have and they have together? One of the ways that I do it, and I was introduced to this concept back in the early 2000s when I decided I was going to embark on the journey, the never-ending journey of becoming the best I could be for horses. I was introduced to the concept of putting my heart in my hand before I touch or handle my horses. Think about that. Spend some time thinking about what would that feel like. To me, there were many levels. Okay, if I have my heart in my hand, it's a living organ that's very soft and sensitive, so I don't want to smash it and rub my horse and groom my horse and pat my horse, right? It's got my heart in my hand. But even more so, not the living organ that helps this body sustain life, but the place where intimacy and compassion and vulnerability and joy and happiness and awe, feelings of euphoria come from the heart. And so if I put my heart in my hand and I touch every horse with my heart in my hand, it's energetically going straight into this space. And I can feel them, and they can feel me. It puts you in the present moment of being right here and right now with your horse. And I know we've all had moments of that, but can we make those moments more frequent? Can we strive to make that kind of a connection become the norm with our horses? I work with a lot of wild horses who are very shut down. They are like, whew, because of what they've been through, So by the time they come to me, they've been through the channel, the system of being caught and processed and who knows what. And so for me to be willing to show them that I can help them fulfill those first 3 needs, and doing it from a place of love and connection, genuine love and connection for them. It's pretty amazing to watch them receive that. So love and connection is a giving and a receiving. And our horses are often better at giving it to us than we are to giving it to them. But if we can strive to explore what it means in your own unique way to experience that need of love and connection with your trusty steed, and watch them give it back to you. So I like to put my heart in my hand whenever I'm touching them, grooming them, saddling them, whatever I'm doing. When I pick up that lead rope, when I put that halter on their face, when I pick up that hoof, when I work with them on the ground, when I lead them, when I'm in the saddle and I pick up those reins, I try to remember to have my heart in my hands so that they can feel that love and connection. So that's the giving part of it. For women, it's often easier for us to give love and connection. I'm not stereotyping, it's just kind of fact. That's why we were given these bodies to create life inside of them. We're nurturers, we're givers. Sometimes things happen and we close all that down, but we're very good at giving it. How good are we at receiving it? One of these series is going to be about focus, field, timing, and balance. Fundamentals of horsemanship. The reason I bring it up is because part of having that love and connection need met in a relationship with our horse is we have to be able and willing to feel. You hear master horsemen and women talk about the feel of a horse. And you'll often hear the saying, well, maybe, I don't know, I want to assume. I often witness the lack of feel in people handling horses. And why does that matter? Well, it goes with, it's part of that love and connection. And horses are masters at sensory awareness, meaning all of their senses are heightened. So they have feel. They feel storms coming. They can feel the energy of people around them and horses around them. I have witnessed people walk onto the property and go to greet the horses, and all the horses get as far away as they possibly can. They feel that person. And then I've seen other people come to the property, and some of my most wildest Mustangs and my most traumatized horses, because we are a little bit of a rescue sanctuary here. Everybody's been rescued. They all have their story. I have seen people come onto the property and those horses meet them at their gates because they feel them. One of the things that I teach in my program, and one of the things that I will spend my lifetime mastering, is my ability to feel the horse. I also feel my clients. They'll be like, how do you know that about me? That's really weird. How did you just describe me to a T? Well, it's because of the feel. That's part of love and connection. And it has taken me a long time to get there. I had a very traumatizing childhood. So I gravitated to animals. The smartest and best thing that the parental influencers in my life did was get me a horse at the age of 11. Saved my life on so many levels. But because I'm such an empathic being, it was the horses and the animals that I fulfilled that love and connection need with. And so I learned how to feel them at a very young age. It was the only time that my heart was open and I was vulnerable. But over the years, I have learned through a lot of personal development, and pretty much all of it has taken place with the guidance and the assistance and the love and support of horses in my life. But because of that, I have been willing and able to stand still, be vulnerable, open my heart to expressing, to giving and receiving love and connection from humans. Which there's a lot of us, I get it. We are shut down because we have been hurt. Just like so many horses in the world. Their basic need for love and connection is not being met because their hearts are closed. Because Their first three needs weren't being met, haven't been met, have been abused, have been neglected, have been mistreated. Their need for certainty, their need for variety, and their need for significance has not been met. And therefore, this is a big aha for me. So you're witnessing this while I'm having a huge aha. Their need of love and connection is not being met because their heart is closed because of the first three being abused and neglected. Wow, big stuff, right? Whew. I knew this one was going to be big. So, how can we learn to open our hearts and connect with our horses? The first thing, and it's always the first thing, no matter what the circumstances is, and that is breathing. Breathing in deep down into that power center. It's also known as our womb space or our dantian. It's the power center. It's the space 2 to 3 inches below our belly button and back towards our spine. So when we breathe, we don't just go. We breathe. We put our hands on that lower spot of our belly and we breathe. And when we breathe in, we expand our belly. And when we breathe out, we feel our belly button go back towards our spine. Doing 4 to 6 breaths like that when in the presence of your horse before you do anything. Breathe. That's grounding us, putting us in the present moment, and automatically opens the energy between the two of us for that connection to take place. Then, for some of us, our hearts may still be closed, and that's okay. Imagine your heart in your hand. So instead of just vigorously grooming and getting done and slapping that halter on and pulling them to the tie rack, breathe. Put your heart in your hand before you touch your tools, before you touch your horse. And the entire time while you're touching your horse, play with that. That might be hard. So maybe when you go to groom them, breathe 4 to 6 breaths into that lower space. This is something to do always, you guys. Whenever you or your horse is feeling anxious, breathe into your power center. Please, 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 please. It's so grounding. Then put your heart in your hand before you pick up the grooming tools and groom them with your heart in your hand and watch them, feel them receive you. So if this is a new concept to you, please start with that. Heart in your hand, giving your horse love and connecting with them through love. And when you get comfortable doing that, and it begins to be natural, and you see the immediate positive feedback, unless you have a horse who is equally shut down, then be patient. Be patient with both of you, please. Once you can feel the giving of that love and connection, then the next thing is open your heart and receive your horse's love and connection. This whole time that I've been talking with all of you, I have had my heart open, my focus down in my power center, sending and connecting through this video to all of you through love and connection. So give it a go. I'd love to hear comments in the comment section on what you think of all of this. And next week, we're going to be talking about the fifth basic need of human and horses, which is the need for growth. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week.